Welcome to Biology My Passion. I am Soumya Harikrishna. We are learning the chapter Improvement in Food Resources, and we have been discussing 3 steps in scientific practices in agriculture. First one was crop variety improvement, second crop production management, third crop protection management. In crop variety improvement, we discussed the ways to improve the crop variety, that is hybridization and genetic modification, and what are the factors for which we do that. In the second step that we are discussing now, there are 3 aspects. One is the nutrient management, which includes manure as well as fertilizers and macro and micronutrients that we discussed. The other 2 aspects are irrigation and crop pattern that we will discuss today. And the third step is crop protection management. So let us start with the second requirement during production, that is irrigation. So India is a country which is actually called an agricultural country because our major occupation is agriculture. But still, majority of our farmers are depending on monsoon for their irrigation purposes. It is obvious that we get lot of rain during monsoon and we can depend on monsoon for our agricultural needs. But sometimes it's unpredictable, especially in recent years we are not getting the expected rain or in the expected time. Water should be available to the plants during their growth time at certain stages. That only give us the better result. So we have to ensure that in case the monsoon fails, we have to have alternative measures to give water to the plants. For that, we have 4 methods which we have been using for several years, and because the resources are also available with us in our country. They are basically first about wells, then canals, river lake system, tanks. These are in use for several years. Wells are actually kind of 2 types, tube wells and duck wells. Duck well is a very traditional system where we are fetching water from the water table and we can manually take the water up. But tube wells are going into the deeper strata to get water. In that case, we cannot manually take the water, but we need some motor or pump to take the water up. Now the second method is canals. Canals are also like we are making distributaries of rivers. Suppose your land is little away from the river where you cannot directly take, so you can channelize that water from the river into a canal system. And it is a very extensive network of water distribution in India. We can send water to hectares of lands in and around the riverbed. So when the water is coming, we are again making side channels and distributaries, and always ensure that those who are far away are getting water first, then only the ones who are near. Okay. Then the canal system, sometimes it may not be feasible, but if your land is very close, you don't have to go for a canal system. You can directly draw water from the river. That system is called a river lift system, which is possible only if your land is near to the river. The next is tank. Tank is a small reservoir where we collect water and keep, and from there we can irrigate the plants. So tanks usually they are managed by certain groups of people in the village or farmers, and 1 or 2 people will be given the charge of taking care of this so that people are not misusing it or people are not spreading poison or anything, or unwanted things are not being done to the tank water. Okay, so these are very conventional system. You can get a question, what are the 2 fresh initiatives in the field of irrigation? Then you have to write only these 2, rainwater harvesting and watershed management. Rainwater harvesting means we are collecting the rainwater and using. It doesn't mean that always we are collecting and using it for our purposes. That we can do. The rainwater, even though we are not using for drinking, we can water the plants, we can wash the clothes, all these are possible. But here rainwater management basically means that we are allowing the water to percolate down into the soil. That means nowadays we know that around our house or road, everywhere we are using cement or metal or tiles to cover it, so that we feel it neat and comfortable, but there is no space for the water to go down in case of rain. So all water will be running to the nearby sea or rivers, and it is getting wasted there. Means it is unavailable to us. But our idea is to collect water and allow the water to percolate down the soil. What is the importance of that? Then only the water table will get recharged, because there is an underground water table. If you replenish that water table during the rainy season, in the summer season there won't be any drought or no drying up of wells or rivers in that case. So it's our duty. So rainwater harvesting is basically to allow the water to get down to the water table and replenish the water. Another method is watershed management, where we are making small check dams where large amount of water is flowing. So check dams will stop the water, we collect it. There are again two purposes. One, from that collected water we can use it for irrigation purposes to the nearby crop lands, and at the same time we can allow the water to go down to the water table also. Watershed management can also prevent soil erosion since it is stopping the flow of water. So these are the different methods of irrigation that we are using. The third aspect in crop production management is crop patterns or cropping patterns. So if you follow a very systematic pattern of cropping, your yield also can be more. So there are three ways in which we can mix the crops, that is mixed cropping, intercropping and crop rotation. So let us see this one by one. What is mixed cropping? As the name suggests, we are mixing and growing some crops. That means we are not following a pattern, but simultaneously we are growing two or more crops in the same field. For example, if I have 1 hectare of land, one area I am growing some cereals like a rice or something, another part I am growing some vegetables, in the third region I am growing some fodder crops. Like that I am growing different crops in one single field simultaneously. That is called a mixed cropping. So in mixed cropping we can grow maybe wheat and gram, or wheat and mustard, or groundnut and sunflower. So one part can be groundnut, other part sunflower, or 1/4 you can make some gram, rest 3/4 you can grow wheat or mustard. Like that we can do combination, but there is no pattern. My field I am growing maybe half wheat and half mustard. In the next person's here crop field he is using maybe first 3/4 only crop the cereals and only 1/4 of the land for mustard. So there is no definite pattern here. That's called a mixed cropping. But in all these you have to learn the advantage also. So here what is the advantage? It gives a kind of insurance for the farmers from the failure of one of the crops. In case if the wheat fails that year, the farmer will not face complete loss because he will get at least something from gram. The same way if mustard fails, he will get from wheat. So this is how they are getting an insurance against the failure of a crop. It reduces the risk of farming. Then second method is called intercropping. Here also two or more plants are grown simultaneously in the same field but in a definite pattern. That's the only difference. Both the definitions you see, growing two or more crops simultaneously in the same field, mixed cropping. In a definite pattern, intercropping. So in intercropping we are following a pattern. Maybe a few rows of cabbage, then 2-3 rows of cauliflower, then cabbage. So like that if you grow, you know that is following a definite pattern in the field. So example, you can grow soybean and maize. Both are cereal crops. You can grow like that. Or bajra and lobia. You can grow. One is cereal, one is the leguminous plants or the pea plant. So alternately we are doing it. So when we are doing this, here we have to see only one thing, that they should have different nutrient requirements. Means if they have one single nutrient requirement or their nutrient requirements are common, then what is the problem? They will fight each other. That will lead to competition. That should not happen. So you have to select the plants in such a way that they require different types of nutrients, so that without competition they will grow in the same field. Now what is the advantage here? One, entire nutrient in the soil is being used up. Because if you grow one crop, that will take only certain types of nutrients. Here different types of nutrients are taken, so the soil is completely utilized. Second, even if there is a spread of infectious disease, suppose starting for cabbage as I told in the example, or if we will take the example of soybean, there is an insect or a pest attacking soybean. So the first batch of soybean all got affected. But next there comes what? Some maize. This insect is not infecting maize, so that row is safe. And next row also will be safe because there is no continuity. So here actually it is stopping the spread of the disease. Imagine if the full field was entirely of soybean and if something affects it, it can spread to the whole field and can cause a lot of damage. So these are the two advantages. One, utility of the nutrients from the soil completely, and second, the disease can spread, or the infectious disease will not be spread in the field. And of course, multiple income they get, right, from one or the other. Then last is called a crop rotation. Here there is a small difference. That word simultaneous is not needed here. We introduce a few crops in the field in a pre-planned succession, because the farmer should know what is the growing season of each crop, and accordingly he can grow. For example, we know rice. If rice is grown in the Kharif season, then after that, next few months of Rabi season, he cannot grow rice in his field. And instead of leaving it vacant, he can plan in such a way that he grows some pea plants or leguminous plants there, and again when the next season comes, he can grow rice. Okay, so alternately it's doing, not simultaneous, one after the other, but a pre-planned succession. We have an order that we are following. Here the best advantage is multiple yield in a year. It's not only that the farmer gets a harvest from the rice alone, but later also after rice is over, he is growing gram. Within 3 months he gets a harvest, maybe one more round of that, another harvest, then again rice, the major crop. And one more advantage is there, provided he uses leguminous plants or the pea varieties or dal varieties in his field, then they can fix nitrogen. So once he is using that, the next rotation means when he grows the rice or wheat again, the plant will show better growth because they get enough nitrogen, which is a macronutrient in the soil. Hope you like my videos. If so, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, Biology My Passion.